How to Create the Universe, The God Series Book 32, by Mike Hockney. This free audiobook series has been brought to you by the Foundation of Illuministic Guides. Contact the Foundation publicly listen, the Phoenix, at tinyurl.com/foundation322. Check our Foundation page at tinyurl.com/foundation323. And we have a posting group with many books and resources at tinyurl.com/foundation324. For the complete books that will be covered in this series, see tinyurl.com/Hockney322. Remember, there are many truths within lies and lies within fact. Truth is relative to the observer. The sign of a seeker is the quest for the truth. In that sign you shall conquer. Find the path in your own quest for the Gnostic grail of illumination. Choose wisely. We will be watching you. In a Hockney, Chapter 9, The Measurement Problem. The measurement problem in quantum mechanics is the problem of how, or whether, wave function collapse occurs. The inability to observe this process directly, MH, it is non-empirical and immaterial, has given rise to different interpretations of quantum mechanics, and poses a key set of questions that each interpretation must answer. The wave function in quantum mechanics evolves deterministically according to their Schrödinger equation as a linear superposition of different states, but actual measurements always find the physical system in a definite state. Any future evolution is based on the state the system was discovered to be in when the measurement was made, meaning that the measurement did something to the system that is not obviously a consequence of Schrödinger evolution. To express matters differently, to paraphrase Steven Weinberg, the Schrödinger wave equation determines the wave function at any later time. If observers and their measuring apparatus are themselves described by a deterministic wave function, why can we not predict precise results for measurements, but only probabilities? As a general question, how can one establish a correspondence between quantum and classical reality? The best known example is the paradox of the Schrödinger's cat. A mechanism is arranged to kill a cat if a quantum event, such as the decay of a radioactive atom, occurs. Thus the fate of a large-scale object, the cat, is entangled with the fate of a quantum object, the atom. Prior to observation, according to the Schrödinger equation, the cat is apparently evolving into a linear combination of states that can be characterized as an alive cat and states that can be characterized as a dead cat. Each of these possibilities is associated with a specific non-zero probability amplitude. The cat seems to be in some kind of combination state called the quantum superposition. However, a single, particular observation of the cat does not measure the probabilities. It always finds either a living cat, or a dead cat. After the measurement, the cat is definitively alive or dead. The question is, how are the probabilities converted into an actual, sharply well-defined outcome? Wikipedia scientists, when they try to interpret processes that cannot be perceived, try to produce the explanation that departs least from what they can perceive. If they accept the perceived order as reality, then they are in no way predisposed to contemplate a deeper, rational, noumenal reality that they can't perceive at all, an order with no appearance. So, they refer instead to an unreal, abstract world to provide the inescapable underpinning of the observed world. There is no measurement problem in rationalist, idealist science, only in empiricist, materialist science. Cats are never in living dead or superposition states. Their status is always ontologically certain, and is defined by an unseen rational order of mathematics. Ontological mathematics is what gets rid of the measurement problem. Atoms of substance, only atoms of substance, that is real units absolutely devoid of parts, are the sources of actions, and the absolute first principles of the composition of things, and, as it were, the ultimate elements in the analysis of substantial things. They might be called metaphysical points. They have something of the nature of life and they have a kind of perception, and mathematical points are their points of view for expressing the universe. But when corporeal substances are contracted, all their organs together make but one physical point for us. Thus physical points are only apparently indivisible. Mathematical points are exact, but they are only modalities. None but metaphysical or substantial points, consisting of forms or souls, are exact and real. The organized mass, in which is the point of view of the soul, is more nearly expressed by the soul. Leibniz. Metaphysical points are in fact ontological mathematical monads, made of a complete and consistent set of moving points. Static mathematical points have no consequences. Philosophers, here equals philosophers and scientists, have been at a loss regarding the origin of forms, entities, or souls, but not any longer. Careful investigations into plants, insects and animals have shown that nature's organic bodies are never produced from chaos or from putrefaction, but always from seeds, in which there is without doubt already some preformation. Rather than something formed being generated from something formless, it has turned out that what is formed always comes from something that was already formed. So these days we think that before conception there is an organized body there, and that this has a soul, which is to say that before conception there is already an animal there. What conception does is to launch that animal into a great transformation that will turn it into an animal of a different kind. We even have examples of something like this great transformation apart from generation, as when maggots turn into flies and caterpillars into butterflies. Lubnas, the ultimate preformed entities, are monads themselves. Pure mathematical entities that underlie everything. Leibniz's core principles and doctrines. The subject-predicate form of propositions is basic, and for a proposition to be true, its predicate must be contained in the subject. Finite analysis. The containment of the predicate in the subject is shown by a simple analysis of the terms. A finitely analyzable statement's opposite cannot be asserted without a contradiction. Infinite analysis. The procedure necessary in order to understand contingent propositions. For example, to fully understand the concept of Socrates, we would have to know all of Socrates' predicates. The denial of such propositions does not yield a contradiction. Only God can do infinite analysis. The principle of contradiction. Two contradictory propositions cannot both be true. A proposition is either true or false. A proposition cannot be both true and false at once, and it is impossible for a proposition to be neither true nor false. This principle yields truths of reason. The principle of sufficient reason. Nothing can be true or real or existing unless there is a sufficient reason that makes it so and not otherwise. This principle yields truths of fact. The principle of perfection, or the principle of the best. God acts for the objectively best and humanity acts with a view to what seems to be the best. This is, after all, the best of all possible worlds. The principle of the identity of indiscernibles. There cannot be two identical substances, or, numerically different individuals must be qualitatively dissimilar. The principle of continuity. Nothing is accomplished all at once. Nature makes no leaps. A principle of differentiation. Monads differ from one another in respect to their degree of consciousness. The internal principle of change. A petition or desire, inherent in monads. The doctrine of pre-established harmony. God created each monad with its particular disposition such that it is coordinated and corresponds with all other monads at all times. William T. Myers. The principle of sufficient reason is often linked to truths of fact rather than truths of reason, which are said to be catered for by the principle of contradiction. Of course, it can equally well be applied to the latter. The principle of contradiction is just a particular case of the principle of sufficient reason. A contradiction provides the sufficient reason for a proposed eternal truth of reason to be rejected. The God series. In the God series, we have not only explained the way things really are, but also why people believe them to be other than how they really are. It's because they reject reason and favor instead their own psychological type. People of faith, anti-reason, that is feeling types such as Abrahamists, are attracted to the notion of all-powerful super-being, with whom they can have some kind of personal relationship. People of mysticism, anti-reason, that is intuitives not guided by reason, are attracted to Eastern religion, where they imagine that meditation can change their mental state so that they are absorbed by some tranquil, interconnected, mystical oneness. People of empiricism, anti-reason, that is sensing types not guided by reason, are attracted to scientific materialism. All of these irrationalist anti-intellectuals oppose reason and regard it as unreal and abstract. Change proceeds in an orderly manner from one state to another through all of the infinitely many intervening states. In fact, the principle of continuity is nothing other than cause and effect. Cause and effect does not take place in jumps. Cause and effect takes place continuously. Every state is the immediate consequence of the preceding state. There are no unexpected, random, unpredictable jumps. Any such jumps would be inexplicable. They lack a sufficient reason. No privilege. The principle of sufficient reason supports the principle of no privilege. None of a set of equal states can be privileged over any of the others, or must be given exactly the same treatment. This is a round table principle, fully consistent with equal opportunities. Eternity obeys exact equal opportunities for all equivalent states.